For many years, I've known the name Boone and Scenic Valley Railroad. I've seen it featured on classic railroad films, and I've heard about its unique fleet of locomotives. After all, Nebraska has next to nothing in terms of heritage railroads, so this is essentially one of the closest ones to me. So after years of waiting and asking and waiting some more, I would finally get to experience this Boone and Scenic Valley Railroad. And a little bit more than what we bargained for. As we pulled up to the station, what would we see but our excursion train being assembled by the engine of the day, Milwaukee Road 1648. Although the railroad is best known for its steam engine, number 8419, a 282 Mikado built in China, I was still happy to see the railroad's early generation diesels. 1648 is an NW2 built by EMD in 1949, almost 40 years before 8419. Little did I know, I would see more of the railroad's roster than I expected. Running on the trackage of a former Chicago and Northwestern branch line, the railroad is within sight of what is now Union Pacific's main line, the Boone subdivision. UP keeps this route busy, as we saw quite a few trains before, during, and after our ride on the railroad. But I can't be railfanning too long. It's time to board the Fraser train, the railroad's standard excursion set to depart at 1:30. Our seat was in the climate-controlled car, a former Chicago and Northwestern bi-level, and on a July afternoon, that's a nice car to be in.
Are you done?
Tourist trains aren't the only source of revenue for this railroad, as it also interchanges some freight traffic with Union Pacific. I'm not sure if these are revenue freight, but a few modern rail cars were visible tucked away on a spur, while some additional tank cars were present east of the station. And here we arrive at a very iconic location on the railroad, the 156-foot-high Bass Point Creek Bridge. It's a wonderful view, no doubt, but not the sort of place you'd want to be stuck on.
Yo, that's so cool, but so scary.
Outside of Fraser, a few towns northwest of Boone, the train stopped to begin the return journey. We took the opportunity to leave our crowded bi-level and get a snack in the quieter cafe car, where I was also able to see 1648 doing its thing. With another beautiful view above Bass Point Creek, it wouldn't be long before we rolled back into Boone. At least that's what we all thought. And this is where the eventful part of the title really comes into play. Just after the bridge, we suddenly came to a stop. That's odd, I thought. They don't normally stop here. After a few minutes, an employee tells us that 1648 has broken down, and we will have to wait for another engine from Boone to come to our rescue. Sure enough, a few minutes later, another diesel appears around the curve. This is number 751, a GP9R built in 1956 and still wearing the colors of its former owner, the Wisconsin and Southern. With almost 2,000 horsepower, it should get us back to Boone in a jiffy. It should get us back to Boone in a jiffy. And we started to reverse. And we stopped on the bridge. Turns out there's a grade east of the bridge that 751 couldn't climb while pulling the dead 1648 and the rest of the train. So we reversed westward again for a running start. Only for it to stall again. We don't know if a third engine is coming along or what will be done at this point, but we soon get our answer as the train backs up again, and this time everyone from the last few cars is brought up front. They're going to separate the train to shed weight and give 751 a lighter load. So, 751 revs into action, and we cross the bridge once more.
All you got. Give her all you got.
And we keep chugging along. We've left our back end behind and are now in a crowded car with crying kids, but we are on the move again as we trundled back to Boone over an hour behind schedule. Even with the delay, we had time to skim the station's James H. Andrew Museum, included in our ticket, which had some cool displays of railroad memorabilia and vintage toy trains. With a little more UP action and a final look at the disgraced 1648, we bid the charming town of Boone farewell. So, that was quite the story to tell. I've got a lot of things to say about this, and so did my fellow passengers. From what I can see, the railroad hasn't given any sort of acknowledgement about this incident anywhere, and the negative reviews have already trickled in. Not just from our train, but from passengers who came later in the day and had their trains cancelled due to the delay. I want to be fair to the crew on our train, since they did a lot to get us back, and I could tell they were just as annoyed as us. But for what was quite an unpleasant experience for us to go through, some form of accountability on the railroad's part should have been provided, especially since we paid extra for that climate-controlled car, which got left behind on a hot July day. And I'm not sure how preventable all this was, but I would hope that whatever was up with 1648, they get repaired stat. And it sucks that I have to say all this and have to worry about if I'll ever come back and if the railroad loses visitors, because besides this elephant in the room, I did genuinely enjoy my visit. The town of Boone was indeed charming, the museum was well kept with a nice collection of train items, the action on the UP side was more than I expected, and I liked all the vintage railroad equipment, when it worked anyway. For a rail fan, I thought it was still worth the trip. And it's for these reasons that I don't want to harbor any sort of resentment toward the Boone and Scenic Valley Railroad, and I ask that nobody harass them as a result of this. Please do not go after the Boone and Scenic Valley Railroad, it won't help anybody. I think to some extent this incident was avoidable, and definitely not justified, but there was also a level of Murphy's Law involved. Every railroad and form of transport has experienced it. Amtrak will tell you. Likewise, fellow tourist railroads have made their share of mistakes as well. It doesn't mean those mistakes should forever scare people away, but it also doesn't mean the railroad shouldn't own up and learn from them. If I knew for certain that I wouldn't have to go through this again, I would be happy to pay another visit to the Boone and Scenic. Until that happens, though, I will be holding on to this shirt for a long time. It's got quite the story behind it now.